Hello everyone, today I am going to explain about the message formats, execution styles, headlines, slogans, copy and script. Now let us understand what is a message and message format. The message theme or the outline of the key idea in the ad is a central part of the creative brief, and a message format is the way the message is presented. It should be such as to attract the attention of audience. It should be simple and logical. Presenting the strongest argument first from the various message content has the advantage of creating interest. This can be accomplished through a variety of common message execution style. They can be understood as slice of life. This message execution style shows people using the product in a normal setting. Lifestyle. This style shows how a product suits into a particular lifestyle. Fantasy. This means creating a fantasy around the product in the mind of viewers. Mood or image. This style builds a mood around the product like style, beauty and serenity. Musical. Music becomes the identity or medium of retention about the product in this style. Personality symbol. This style creates a character that represents the product either animated or real. Technical expertise. This style shows company's expertise in making a particular product. Scientific evidence. This style emphasizes on scientific evidence or survey showing that the brand is better. Testimonial evidence. As the name suggests, this style uses a highly credible source endorsing the product. The company must also decide on the type of tone to use and what words will communicate their creative concept in an effective way. In mediums where audience often do not attend the full message, for example, newspaper, it becomes more important to convey the message in the first line, which is called headline. A headline should be quick to grab eyeballs and catching attention. For example, here are the functions of headline. Headline should attract the attention of audience. It should highlight main features of the product. A headline convey main message of ad in brief. A headline arouse interest for further reading of ad copy. There are different forms of headline. Direct benefit headlines. Such headlines indicate the main benefit of the product or service. For example, Nycil crack cream. Product service is displayed in the headline itself. Question headlines. In this type of headline, we present a question in the form of headline. For example, are you suffering from this problem? Are you suffering from cracks? Announcement headlines. These headlines are for announcing special schemes like festive season offers and special discounts. Provocative headlines. Such headlines provoke audience by arousing the curiosity towards advertiser's product. Also, some ad provoke to take quick action like hurry up, act fast, do it now and so on. Selective headline. This kind of headline seeks the attention of only the selected target audience for whom the product or services is meant. For example, attention car owners, attention students. Label headlines. In this kind, the brand name is used as headline. Bagon uses only its brand name as headline. This is a common way of showing headline. Negative headline. This kind of headline uses the word no, don't, not and so on. For example, say no to cracks, use crack cream. Now, let us discuss the next element of an ad, that is slogan. A slogan is a short, simple and catchy sentence. This is easy to remember, sweet, easily pronounceable, pleasing to ear. Slogans increase the recall value of an advertisement. It should be related to product's quality, product superiority, product's features. Sometimes brand name can also be used in the slogans. There are some main characteristics of slogan. It is short, sweet and presented in one sentence only. It can be and is generally a musical, easily pronounceable and pleasing. It speaks of product, its benefit, features, brand and producer. Same slogan can be used in ad copies of different media. It is original. You can't copy someone else's slogan. It is easy to remember. The next thing we are going to discuss is copy. Advertisement copy is a written or spoken message which the advertiser wants to communicate to its target audience. The written or spoken material mainly includes headlines, slogans, message, illustrations, claims, logos and closing idea. A good copy should have some important features like attractive, interesting, it must have retention value, it should be suggestive, it should be educative, it should be believable, it must carry an appropriate appeal, and along with that it must be having some other features like it should be brief, easy to understand and having simple language, having no obscenity, conforms to rule and law, matching with consumers' requirements and entertaining. A copy can be categorized in different categories on the basis of message execution, like descriptive copy. In this type, copy describes the pertinent and relevant characteristics, features of the product. It is very simple and non-technical nature. It does not have any speciality which can attract the attention of the target consumers or may compel them to read it. It is very much similar to a press account or news item, simply giving relevant information to the public without any stylish touch. Educational. The copy is designed to educate the general public about the attributes of the product. Usually, introductory appeal is made in this style when the product is introduced in the market for the first time. It is the duty of every producer or advertiser to tell everything relevant about the product to the public in such a manner that it may get a warm welcome among consumers. Reminder. When a detailed copy has been shown on television, then only for the purpose of reminder, cut short version of copy having brand name and slogan is repeated. Questioning. Questioning copy, as the term suggests, is a series of questions expected to be answered by the readers. The advertiser puts no narration, statement or reason of its own in order to pursue the reader to buy the product. The question arouses the curiosity in the mind of the readers and make them think of it. Comparative. Comparative copy is a copy in which a particular product or service specifically mentions a competitor by name for the express purpose of showing why the competitor is inferior to the product naming it. Comparative advertising, also referred to as knocking copy, is loosely defined as advertising where the advertised brand is explicitly compared with one or more competing brands and the comparison is oblivious to the audience. Announcement. Some special announcement like festive season are announced in this type of copy. Institutional. Institutional advertisement copy aims at selling the name of the advertiser or the institution that is producing or selling the products or services. The main objective of such type of advertisements is to create, maintain or increase the goodwill of the product or of brand or of the department of the selling house as a whole. Institutional copy invites the target consumer to the selling outlet. Topical. Herein, An attempt is made to appeal to the general public by linking the theme of the copy with some current event, but it should not look absurd. It commands a good deal of interest because of that sensational event which lives in the minds of the public. Personality copy. This copy attempts to encase the opinion of personality, real or imaginary, about the product. Usually, the personality is real. The photograph of the personality or a person specialized to concerned field is given with the text of the copy with a view to convince the reader through the moral influence of his name. Invariably, such copy shows a certificate or a testimonial of such influential person. Technical copy. Such type of copies are technical in nature and generally used by drug and pharmaceutical companies, elaborating the proposition of properties and constituent of the product. It provides full information about the product and the producer. This type of copy is usually meant for professional or for those who are really interested in such type of information. Dramatization copy. In such a copy, a story is narrated in a very interesting manner to create an impression in the minds of the public about the product. Its ability to create interest depends on dramatic impact it produces. Experience of customers can also be narrated in the story. Reason why copy. This type of copy offers the readers reason why they should buy the advertised goods. It narrates the positive points of difference from other brands of the same product category in an endeavor to convince the reader from product's qualitative aspect. It directs its appeal to the intellect or judgment rather than to emotion or senses. Teaser copy. It involves not giving all the information at once. For example, you can give half at the first and leave the audience in confusion or say in the state of illusion and give the other half after some time. Next element in advertising is a script. A script is a document that outlines every oral, visual, behavioral and lingual elements required to tell a story. A script must conform to standards that all involved parties understand and thus has a specific format or layout, margins, notation and other conventions. This document is intended to overview the typical elements used in screenplay writing. Developing a script involves steps given here. Step 1. Identify your target market. Know as much as you can about their age, gender, lifestyle and any other factors that identify them. The better you know your audience, the more effectively you can speak to them. Step 2. Determine the objective of your advertisement. You may want to make people aware of a company, product or service, entice them to buy or take action of some kind. Everyone involved should agree in advance on what the advertisement should accomplish. Step 3. Write to your audience. Use the language they use, words they understand and images they can identify with. Keep your message simple, direct and clear. Step 4. Grab the audience's attention in your opening scene and dialogue. If you are writing a radio ad, use words that describe the image. Step 5. Repeat your message several times in different ways. Once is not enough to make the message memorable. Even in a 30-second spot, repeat your main message at least once. If you are giving a phone number or address, show it on the screen as well as saying it. Step 6. Include a strong call to action that will make people want to take the next step. Go to your store, pick up the phone, tell their friends or whatever it is you want the audience to do. Leave no doubt in their minds what action you want them to take. Step 7. Follow standard format for radio and television scripts. Using 2 columns, put directions and sound effects on the left and dialogue on the right. Time your ad allowing for normal rates of speaking, action and sound effects. make the script 2 seconds shorter than the desired length to allow for fade in and fade out of the advertisement. Next, we are going to discuss an important element, that is a storyboard. Once a concept or script is written for a film or animation, the next step is to make storyboard. A storyboard visually tells the story of an animation panel by panel, kind of like a comic book. A storyboard is like a presentation in comic flow. Your storyboard should convey some of the information, like what characters are in the frame and how are they moving. What are the characters saying to each other, if anything? How much time has passed between the last frame of the storyboard and the current one? Where the camera is in the scene, close or far away? Is the camera moving or static? Developing a storyboard can be divided into the steps presented here. First stage is story work. Establish a timeline. Establishing the parameters for when and where your story takes place and deciding in which order the events of the story happens chronologically is the best way to organize your story, so you can begin bringing it to life. If your story isn't completely linear, for example, there are flashbacks, flash forwards, shifting perspectives or alternate outcomes, multiple timeline and time travel or so on, you still should create a narrative timeline. Identify the key scene in your story. A storyboard is meant to give its viewer the gist of how the story will be translated to film. The point isn't to try to recreate the entire experience in a flipbook, but to demonstrate important key points that will draw the viewer in. Think your story through and brainstorm a list of the key moments that you want to illustrate on your storyboard. Decide how detailed to get. A storyboard can be incredibly detailed, with illustrations depicting every shot. For each shot on the list, you will need to think about the shot's composition and other details involving how it will actually be filmed. Write a description of what each cell will show. Now that you know what main scene you want to show, think about how to depict the action in each illustration. Write a description of the most important element of each one. This will help you determine what exactly to draw for your storyboard. Second stage is design. Decide what medium to use for your template. You can draw a basic storyboard template by hand, simply dividing a poster board into empty frames of the same size using a pencil and straight edge. The setup should look similar to the comic book, with row of square cells, and show how the scene will look on a screen. If you prefer, you can use softwares. Sketch your thumbnails. Start bringing the scenes to life by drawing the sketches you mapped out into the template you designed. This is just your rough draft, so don't try to make it perfect. As you sketch each scene, include the element like composition, that is lighting, foreground, background and color palette. Angle from which the camera is shooting, whether it is a high angle or a low angle. The type of shot, is it a wide shot, close up, over the shoulder shot or a tracking shot. Props, that is the object in the frame. Actors, anything that can act rather than be acted upon. Special effects. Add another important information next to or below each cell. Fill in your description of what's happening in the scene. Include dialogue that will take place. Add information about the length of time the shot will take. Finalize the storyboard. Once you have identified the key points of the subject and worked out a design for each frame, review your work and make final changes. Be sure that each cell portray the action of you want it to portray. Fine tuning. Think in 3-point perspective. while your storyboard illustration don't need to look like they were created by a professional artist. Have motivations for your cuts. As you storyboard your film, think about your reasons for making each cut to a new shot. Advancing the story is about more than just hopping to the next plot point. You need to give a reason for why your characters do what they do. Let your storyboard morph as you go. Your storyboard can be an extraordinary tool to have at your disposal when you are setting up your shots and directing your film. Remember to accept others' input as you go along, especially if you are working with a talented film crew. A storyboard is meant to be edited and changed. It is basic blueprint. It can often be improved by ideas you might not have thought up on your own. In this session, we have understood about message formats, its execution style, scripts, storyboard and the details about storyboard. Thank you.